What if the foundations of human civilization were not built by the people we think? What if hidden across the world lie monuments so vast, so precise, that they defy everything we know about our ancestors? And what if these structures existed before a cataclysm so great that it wiped the world clean, a flood written into every ancient legend? Tonight, we uncover secrets buried in stone for millennia, secrets powerful enough to challenge the very history we were taught. Across deserts, mountains, and oceans, colossal stones stand silent, their origins shrouded in mystery. Some weigh hundreds of tons, perfectly cut and aligned with celestial precision. Some are older than recorded history itself. Archaeologists call them megaliths. But who built them, and why? Conventional history offers no clear answers. Legends speak of a time when the world was different, when civilizations thrived and vanished under floods, leaving behind only whispers in myth and monuments in stone. Tonight, we journey into the forgotten corners of our planet to explore megalithic structures older than history itself, monuments that hint at a world erased, yet not entirely lost. Before we dive into this journey through time, make sure you subscribe to our channel for more stories that challenge everything you thought you knew about our past. Across the vast landscape of human history, there are places where stone speaks louder than words, where colossal blocks rise from the earth in defiance of time and logic. These are the megaliths, monuments so immense, so perfectly aligned, that even in our modern age of steel and machines, they provoke disbelief. How were these structures built thousands of years ago, long before the invention of the wheel or iron tools? Who had the knowledge, or the power, to carve, transport, and raise stones that weigh hundreds of tons? And perhaps most hauntingly, when were they truly built? Because beneath the official story of human civilization lies a puzzle that refuses to fit, a whisper that something far older, far more advanced, once walked this earth. In the ancient city of Baalbek, nestled in the heart of Lebanon, lies one of the greatest enigmas ever uncovered. 3 massive stones, each weigh more than 800 tons, sit perfectly aligned, forming what is known as a trilithon. Below them, an even larger block, over 1,200 tons, rests in the quarry nearby, as if left mid-construction. No modern crane can lift it. Even with today's technology, moving it would be a feat of monumental effort. Yet somehow, thousands of years ago, someone or something managed it. Traditional historians attribute Baalbek's foundations to the Romans, but the Romans themselves admitted they built atop far older ruins. The precision, the size, the alignment, all hint at an origin lost to prehistory. Could Baalbek have been constructed by a civilization erased from memory, one that existed before the Great Flood? Across the world, thousands of miles away, the same mystery repeats itself. In Puma Punku, high in the Bolivian Andes, we find stones carved with such mathematical accuracy that even diamond-tipped saws would struggle to replicate them today. Perfect 90-degree angles, drill holes that match modern industrial standards, blocks that interlock like pieces of a vast mechanical puzzle. Archaeologists say Puma Punku was built over 12,000 years ago, yet according to mainstream timelines, humans of that period were supposed to be primitive hunter-gatherers, not master engineers. So, what happened? How could 2 civilizations, oceans apart, separated by time and geography, share the same inexplicable precision? The truth might lie buried beneath layers of myth and catastrophe. Because nearly every ancient culture speaks of a world before the flood, a golden age when gods, giants, or advanced beings built monuments that reached toward the heavens. The Sumerians wrote of kings who ruled for thousands of years before the deluge. The Bible tells of the Nephilim, the mighty men of old. The Greeks spoke of Atlantis, a great empire swallowed by the sea. And the Maya, the Egyptians, the Hindus, all preserved echoes of a great cataclysm that ended a civilization long before our own began. Perhaps the megaliths we see today are the last surviving evidence of that forgotten age. The site of Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey may hold the greatest clue. Buried under layers of earth for more than 10,000 years, it was discovered in the 1990s, and it shattered everything we thought we knew about human history. Enormous T-shaped pillars, arranged in perfect circles, covered in carvings of animals and celestial symbols. Radiocarbon dating places construction at 12,000 years ago, thousands of years before Stonehenge or the Pyramids of Egypt. This means Göbekli Tepe was built at the very dawn of humanity, before agriculture, before writing, before civilization as we define it. And yet, the craftsmanship is astonishing. Who built Göbekli Tepe? And why? The site was deliberately buried, as if someone wanted to preserve it, to hide it from the cataclysm they knew was coming. Ancient flood myths tell of rising waters that consumed entire continents, forcing survivors to flee and start anew. Modern geological evidence supports this. The end of the last ice age around 11,600 years ago brought rapid melting and massive sea level rise. Entire coastlines vanished. Could it be that these megalithic sites were built by survivors, or remnants, of that pre-flood world desperate to leave behind a message for future generations? Recent underwater discoveries add to the intrigue. Off the coast of Dwarka, in India, sonar scans revealed submerged walls, streets, and temple-like structures dating back more than 9,000 years. In Yonaguni, Japan, a massive underwater formation resembling a step pyramid lies beneath the waves, its edges too sharp, its symmetry too precise to be mere coincidence. If these structures are indeed man-made, they may represent the lost cities of the pre-flood world, swallowed by rising seas, forgotten by time. Everywhere we look, the pattern repeats: advanced stonework, astronomical alignment, and mythic connection to a great deluge. These clues form a single, chilling narrative: that human civilization is far older than we've been taught, and that a once great culture may have perished in a flood so catastrophic it reset humanity itself. And yet, the stones remember. They stand as silent witnesses to a forgotten epoch, to builders who understood the cosmos, mastered the earth, and left behind monuments that still defy comprehension. Each site, from Baalbek to Göbekli Tepe, from Puma Punku to Yonaguni, is a piece of a grander puzzle. A message in stone that whispers, we were here before, we built, we watched, and we fell. But perhaps the most haunting question of all is not who built them or how, but why. Were these structures temples, calendars, or warnings? Could they have been messages meant to survive a coming apocalypse, one the builders foresaw but could not stop? If so, then the megaliths are not just remnants of the past. They are echoes of a forgotten world, calling out across the ages, waiting for us to remember what was lost when the flood came. And perhaps, buried somewhere deep beneath our feet, lies a final piece of the story, the proof that before history began, another world ended. When we gaze upon these colossal stones, stacked and carved with surgical precision, we cannot help but ask, how? How did ancient hands move mountains of stone, carved with mathematical perfection, and align their monuments with the stars, all without machines, without steel, without recorded plans? The deeper we look, the more it feels as though we are staring into the blueprints of forgotten science. Let us return to Baalbek, Lebanon, a site that defies logic itself. The massive trilithon blocks, each over 800 tons, rest perfectly aligned, balanced so seamlessly that not even a blade can slip between them. Beneath them lies the stone of the pregnant woman, a colossal block weighing over 1,200 tons, abandoned as if by builders interrupted mid-task. Modern cranes, even those used in today's largest construction projects, would struggle to move it. Historians once credited the Romans, but Roman engineers never claimed such feats. In fact, their own architecture often reproposed older stones already laid by unknown builders. The stones beneath Baalbek's temple complex are so weathered and ancient that they predate Roman civilization by thousands of years. Some researchers now believe Baalbek is a palimpsest, a city built upon the bones of a much older, much greater one. The same pattern emerges in Egypt. The Great Pyramid of Giza, long thought to be the pinnacle of human ingenuity, conceals mysteries yet unsolved. Each of its 2.3 million blocks weighs between 2 and 80 tons, fitted together with astonishing precision. No mortar, no gaps, just perfect interlocking stone. The pyramid is aligned almost perfectly to true north, an accuracy so refined that even modern surveying tools find it difficult to match. Its base is level within fractions of an inch across an area of over 13 acres. And then there's the question of time. The Sphinx, eroded by rain long before Egypt's desert climate began, may be far older than the dynasties that claimed it. Could the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx be survivors of a much earlier epoch, remnants of a civilization that fell during the cataclysm we call the Great Flood? In the high plains of Bolivia, thousands of miles away, stands another mystery, Puma Punku. Here, massive stones are carved into shapes so precise they resemble machine-milled parts. Perfect 90-degree angles, circular drill holes, and interlocking designs that seem to defy the primitive tools of the time. How did a culture without metal tools carve granite and andesite, some of the hardest materials on Earth? Even more bizarrely, these stones are scattered as if an explosion tore them apart, or perhaps a cataclysmic flood. Some researchers suggest acoustic levitation, the use of sound frequencies to move heavy objects, as a possible explanation. Others propose lost technologies powered by the Earth's electromagnetic field. Though these ideas remain speculative, they reveal a simple truth. The official story cannot explain what the stones show us. But perhaps the most astonishing aspect of these megalithic structures is their relationship with the cosmos. At first glance, these ancient monuments appear randomly placed, but when viewed from above, they reveal a celestial order. Stonehenge in England aligns perfectly with the summer and winter solstices, marking the changing of seasons like a cosmic clock. In Egypt, the pyramids mirror the belt of Orion, a constellation associated with rebirth and the afterlife. In South America, the Temple of the Sun at Machu Picchu catches the exact light of the solstice sunrise. Across continents and cultures, the builders of these monuments shared a common obsession: the heavens. This astronomical precision implies not just observation, but deep understanding, an awareness of planetary cycles, axial precession, and star movement spanning thousands of years. These were not primitive tribes gazing at the night sky. They were scientists, mathematicians, and engineers, or the descendants of those who once were. Consider this. To align a structure with a star, one must first know the Earth's curvature, its tilt, and the predictable motion of the heavens. That knowledge requires centuries of data, generations of observation. Could the builders of these megaliths have inherited knowledge from an even older civilization, one whose libraries were drowned by the floodwaters at the end of the last ice age? Even more striking is the material mastery of the ancients. The builders of these megaliths selected stones resistant to erosion, earthquakes, and time itself. At Sacsayhuaman, Peru, enormous stones weighing up to 350 tons are fitted so perfectly together that after thousands of years of earthquakes, the walls still stand unbroken. The stones of curve that interlock in 3 dimensions, suggesting a level of precision far beyond that of medieval cathedrals. And this precision wasn't random. It was deliberate. Many ancient sites are built along what some researchers call ley lines, invisible alignments that stretch across continents, connecting megalithic structures through a shared geodesic pattern. From Easter Island to the Great Pyramids, from Angkor Wat to Machu Picchu, these lines map a geometric relationship that hints at global coordination. How could civilizations separated by oceans and epochs share such mathematical knowledge, unless they all inherited it from the same source? Even modern science cannot easily replicate some of their feats. Engineers from NASA and MIT have studied ancient stonework, attempting to determine how these precise cuts could have been made without steel or diamond tools. The results remain inconclusive. Some speculate the ancients may have used lost techniques involving vibration, resonance, or even chemical stone softening, knowledge that disappeared with a flood and was never rediscovered. If these theories hold even a fragment of truth, then the megaliths are more than monuments. They are technological fossils, evidence of a sophisticated human era erased from memory. Each stone is a data point, each monument a coded message, carved not in language but in geometry, alignment, and endurance. And perhaps that was their purpose all along, not to glorify kings or gods, but to preserve the essence of a civilization on the brink of annihilation. If they knew a great flood was coming, what better way to ensure their message endured than to write it in the only medium that could survive: stone. As we stand before these megaliths today, their silence feels deliberate. They do not explain themselves. They challenge us. Every cut, every angle, every impossible alignment is a question, whispered across the ages, daring us to rediscover the truths humanity once possessed. And if we ever do, the world will never see history the same way again. Everywhere we look, from the icy plains of Antarctica to the jungles of Cambodia, the same enigma repeats: vast stone monuments, precise geometry, and a haunting sense of purpose that transcends culture, language, and geography. It's as if the entire planet once followed the same blueprint, as if long before written history, there was one shared civilization, united by a knowledge we can barely comprehend today. How can that be? How could ancient societies, separated by oceans and thousands of miles, construct megalithic structures that mirror each other in design, alignment, and astronomical significance. Coincidence? Or the surviving fingerprints of a lost global civilization, one destroyed by the Great Flood and erased from collective memory? Let's start with what cannot be denied. The similarities are undeniable. In Egypt, the 3 great pyramids at Giza are aligned with uncanny precision to the stars of Orion's belt. In Mexico, the pyramids of Teotihuacan follow the same celestial pattern, reflecting the heavens in stone. The ratio between the dimensions, their alignment with cardinal points, and their orientation toward key astronomical events mirror each other almost exactly, despite being half a world apart. The Temple of the Sun in Peru, the Angkor Wat complex in Cambodia, and even the Easter Island Moai share another common trait: a deep connection to both the heavens and the Earth's energy grid. Modern researchers using satellite imagery have discovered that these megalithic sites align along what's known as a Great Circle, an invisible geodesic path around the globe. From Giza to Easter Island, from Mohenjo-Daro to Nazca, these ancient sites are not randomly placed. They form a geometric lattice, as though mapped with an understanding of the Earth's curvature thousands of years before modern science. This suggests something extraordinary. Either ancient civilizations communicated across vast distances, or they all descended from a single advanced source that existed before the flood, a mother civilization whose remnants became the seeds of all others. But who were they? Some ancient texts give us clues. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, sky gods who descended and taught humanity the arts of civilization. The Egyptians told of Thoth, the bringer of knowledge. In Mesoamerica, the legends tell of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god who arrived after a great flood to rebuild civilization. The Greeks told of Atlantis, a mighty empire that vanished beneath the waves after angering the gods. The similarities between these myths are striking. Are they symbolic, or are they distorted memories of real events passed down through generations after a global catastrophe? Modern science lends eerie support to these ancient tales. Around 11,600 years ago, as the last ice age ended, Earth underwent a sudden and violent transformation. Vast ice sheets melted, oceans rose by more than 300 feet, and coastlines vanished. Mega floods swept across continents. Entire regions of land disappeared underwater, including what many now suspect could have been the heartland of early civilization. Sonar and satellite scans have revealed submerged ruins off the coast of India, Japan, and Cuba, vast stone structures now lying deep beneath the sea. Off the coast of India's Gulf of Cambat, archaeologists discovered what appears to be a city 5 miles long and 2 miles wide, complete with walls, streets, and man-made artifacts dating back nearly 9,000 years. If authentic, it predates every known civilization on Earth. Could these ruins be the remnants of that lost global culture, the same builders who raised Baalbek, Göbekli Tepe, and Puma Punku before the flood swept their world away? Even more compelling is how post-flood civilizations seem to remember. The Egyptians, Sumerians, and Mayans all claim their knowledge came from mysterious predecessors, gods or sages who survived the deluge and brought wisdom from the old world. Ancient kings listed in Sumerian records ruled for thousands of years before the flood, suggesting not myth, but a different kind of timeline, one lost when calendars and measurements changed. Could it be that the survivors of the Great Flood, the engineers, astronomers, and builders, spread out across the world, seeding knowledge into fledgling cultures? If so, the rise of agriculture, architecture, and writing may not have been isolated miracles, but a global reawakening guided by memory. But memory fades. Over centuries, myth replaced history, gods replaced survivors, and the monuments, those titanic stones, became the only silent proof of a forgotten era. Even more mysterious are the similarities in symbolism. Spirals, serpents, the all-seeing eye, the sun disk, these symbols appear carved into stones from Egypt to Ireland, from Peru to Polonia. They represent cycles of life, time, and destruction, and they suggest a worldview obsessed with cosmic patterns, celestial timing, and rebirth. Was this the message of the lost civilization? That the world is not destroyed once, but repeatedly, in cycles of creation and catastrophe. It's no coincidence that ancient calendars, from the Mayan long count to the Hindu yugas, all describe ages of prosperity followed by floods, fire, and renewal. These calendars often align closely with astronomical cycles, as if warning future generations that history itself is cyclical, that one day another cataclysm will come. If the Great Flood marked the end of one age, the megaliths might be the monuments of remembrance, built not only to honor the dead, but to preserve the knowledge of the living, to warn us. Today, modern researchers using lidar, sonar, and satellite imagery are discovering more of these ancient sites each year, buried in jungles, deserts, and beneath the sea. Each discovery pushes the dawn of civilization further back, closer to that cataclysmic boundary 12,000 years ago. It's as if humanity's history has been torn in half. One half would know, the other submerged, waiting for us to rediscover it. And as we uncover these buried truths, the same question lingers. Who built the world before the flood? And why did they vanish? Were they wiped out by nature or something else entirely? Did they foresee their destruction and encode their knowledge into stone, hoping that one day their descendants, us, would be ready to find it again? Perhaps that is what the megaliths truly are, not temples, not tombs, but time capsules carved in defiance of oblivion. Messages from a civilization that understood time on a cosmic scale, one that watched the stars fall, the waters rise, and their world disappear, yet refused to be forgotten. Their story, written in stone, still echoes through our world today, in myths, in ruins, and in the quiet hum of ancient memory. The more we uncover, the clearer it becomes. Our past is far older, far more advanced, and far more mysterious than we have ever dared to believe. And if these megaliths are indeed the legacy of that lost civilization, then perhaps, deep beneath the earth or under the oceans, their final message still waits to be found. The megaliths of the world are not just remnants of the past. They are echoes of forgotten civilization, silent witnesses to a cataclysm that changed everything. And while much remains shrouded in mystery, one truth persists. The story of humanity is far older, far deeper, and far stranger than we ever imagined. And as we leave these stones behind, we cannot help but wonder what other secrets lie buried beneath the earth, waiting to rewrite history once more.